Eyed on the Black channel. Now, I don't usually discuss team sports because I'm not really a team sports person, as you all know. However, the story has come out here about the NBA gambling scandal. Is yet another one. This time it's involving players, coaches, and who knows how far it's going to go. Whole bunch of mobsters from the 5 families in New York, and it was a mix of things. It's gotten Terry Rozier wrapped up in it, Chauncey Billups wrapped up in it, Damon Jones wrapped up in it, and it's got a lot of people asking a lot of questions right now, which people have been asking before, but now it's no longer speculation anymore. It's got a bunch of folk asking a bunch of questions. So there were 2 incidents here apparently. One where folks were trying to throw points in the game, rigging games to lose or to hit the spread for people to gamble on it. And then another one where they set up a illegal gambling operation, and that was bad enough, but they were cheating people while they were there. So whole bunch of chicanery was going on, whole bunch of chicanery was happening. And so now folks have been arrested, people have gotten hemmed up. It's going down, man. So people are looking around left, right, and center and wondering who's going to be next. Well, who knows? Who knows? We're going to have a bit of a different conversation here tonight because I want to talk about, one of the things that they're not talking about. And one of the things they're not talking about here is you see all the headlines and everything. You see all the headlines. They got headlines everywhere. Oh, it's Billups, Rozier, Billups, Rozier. But then you go and take a look at the actual indictment, which is on your screen right now. You take a look at the actual indictment. And when you take a look at that, this is the part that's got me, even as a non-professional sports fan, this is the kind of thing that's got me taking a look at it because I'm like, okay, United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, United States of America versus against Ernest Aiello, Nelson Alvarez, also known as Spanish G, Louis Apicella, also known as Lou App, Amar Anwade, also known as Flapper Poker,
nigga, what?
And Flappy,
what?
Saul Betcher, Chauncey Billups, there's a name we recognize, Matthew Dandino, also known as Maddie and the Wrestler, Eric Ernest, also known as Spook, Lee Fama, John Gallo, Marco Garzone, Thomas Gallardo, also known as Juice, Jamie Gillette, Tony Goodson, also known as Black Tony. Why do I have a feeling that Mr. Goodson is not he may be black. He may actually be black. So I got questions. Everybody on here is an AKA, and I don't mean a fraternity, except all these also knowns as. All right. Kenny Hahn, Shane Hennon, also known as Sugar. This name will come back up later. Osman Hoti, also known as Albanian Bruce and Big Bruce. So for those of you who didn't know, the Italian mafia, in the later last 20 years or so, they really went heavy into getting Albanians. They got away from Italians doing the dirty work and they started outsourcing it. If you've seen John Alight on YouTube, but they outsourced it to a bunch of Albanians and black folk, as a matter of fact. That's the thing they were doing. So when you saw on The Sopranos, that was just a preview of coming attraction. So they really have outsourced a lot of the heavy lifting and street work to Albanians and black folk. So the Italians make the deals, and then if there's something dirty got to be done, they send Albanians and black folk out, and now black folk out to do it. Horatio Hu, also known as H, I guess double H would be too close to Triple H. Zen Hu, also known as Jonathan Chan, Jonathan Hu, Screwly, and Stanley. Zinhu, also known as Stanley. All right, I guess they picked their own supervillain names. Damon Jones, also known as D. Jones. Did they call Damon Jones D. Jones in the league? Joseph Lanny, John Mazzallo, also known as John South, Curtis Meeks, also known as Kurt, Nicholas Minucci, Michael Renzulli, Angelo Ruggiero Jr.
What?
Now, for those of you who remember the Gambino crime family under John Gotti, this is the son of Angelo Ruggiero. This is Angelo Ruggiero's son. So if you remember John Gotti and Sammy the Bull and the henchman who worked up under them, you remember Angelo Ruggiero. Well, this is his son. Glad to see he stayed in the family business. Anthony Schneiderman, also known as Doc. Robert Stroud, also known as Black Rob. Okay, we got Black Tony, Black Rob. Seth Trustman, Sophia Way, also known as Pookie. Wait a minute. Sophia Way. Boy, I hope they got a mugshot of her. I want to see this one. Sophia Way, also known as Pookie. And Julius Zolani, also known as Jay. And then they go into the grand jury charges and whatnot. So that was the list of folks here. But what's gotten a bunch of people's attention is, by the way, we couldn't help but notice, you see that laundry list of names, and yet on the stories, on the headlines and whatnot, they're only showing the black folk. So that was something that kind of jumped out at us. Is, by the way, you got half the Italian mobsters and a bunch of Asians from New York. You got half the Italian Asian organized criminal population, and yet the only folk they showing is Billups and Rozier. So we're like, wait a minute now, you got the whole cast of The Sopranos on that indictment, but the only pictures we've seen doing the perp walk is the black folk. So we got questions about this. We didn't say, okay, they could do that kind of thing. We just wondered, where's everybody else's perp walk? Did y'all miss them? Did you miss all the other people on that list? What about them? So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to try to go a little bit deeper into this right here as far as what's going on with, I don't know, the other people involved. Some of the other folk involved here, since the media isn't really saying that much about them. So why don't we go ahead and do their work for them here? So Time Magazine has this article here about New York's notorious mafia families are alive and caught up in the NBA gambling scandal. Here's what we know. So for everyone who thought the Italian mafia was dead, oh, they are alive and kicking. They might not be thriving at the level that they were, but I want to read this article here so you can see, I don't know, the rest of the defendants, or at least have some background on that, by Connor Green. The New York Mafia is still kicking, and it may be more powerful than experts believed. Several members of New York's most prominent crime families were among the dozens of people arrested on Thursday in connection with rigged poker games that federal officials say involved tens of millions of dollars and high-profile NBA figures. Prosecutors alleged that illegal poker games that cheated participants out of nearly $7 million in rewards through the use of special shuffling machines, we'll get to that, and high-tech sunglasses that enabled conspirators in the scheme to read the backs of playing cards, among other tactics, were run by the Gambino, Bonanno, Lucchese, and Genovese mafia families. So 4 out of 5. These games quote, created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity. Christopher Rea, the assistant director in charge of FBI's New York field office, said at a press conference on Thursday, quote, this alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation. I don't know, y'all, did it wreak havoc in your neighborhood? I mean, I know there was New York and Miami involved, New York, Miami, and the Hamptons. Does it wreaked havoc across the nation? How many of y'all had havoc wreaked on your block by this? Did any of you have havoc in your city as a result of this? They wreaked havoc across the nation. We didn't even know till Thursday. People, the havoc was so terrible, we all didn't find out about it till Thursday. But according to the FBI's New York field office, it was wreaking havoc across the nation. So, yeah, we got to arrest Chauncey Phillips and Rozier now. We got to do it. They're wreaking havoc across the nation. So much havoc, we didn't hear about it till Thursday. They've been doing it since 2019. We didn't hear about it since Thursday, but it was a reign of terror, if you will. A reign of terror. So no need to go after, the Mexican mafia, El Chapo, Trende Arroyo. No need to do that because Chauncey Billups and Rozier are having an illegal card game, and that's the threat to American, keeping the peace. The alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation, exploiting the notoriety of some of the wallets of many to fund the Italian crime family here in New York. La Cosa Nostra refers to one of the three major mafia confederations in Italy from which American Italian mafia organizations are descended, says a professor in Pennsylvania. All right. They went back into a little bit of stuff here. What does the indictment allege? The Gambino, Bonanno, Lucchese, and Genovese mafia families are accused of running rigged poker games, taking cuts of the profits, and forcibly going after those who owe debts. Wait till you get a little bit more information here, because a lot of these folks are not as dumb as you might think. Victims of the scheme, according to prosecutors, were lured by the presence of celebrities like former NBA player and coach Damon Jones and current Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, who were allegedly cut in on the proceeds. One victim lost $1.8 million in the manufactured gambling matches, according to the New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch. The poker games, which allegedly began as early as 2019, primarily took place in New York, according to officials who said they occurred in the Greenwich Village and Kips Bay neighborhoods of Manhattan, as well as popping up in the Hamptons, Miami, and Las Vegas. Folks, I don't know if Greenwich Village, the Hamptons, Miami, and Las Vegas counts as wreaking havoc across the nation, but according to them, we were all in stark terror for our lives. Quote, this complex scheme was so far reaching that it included members from 4 of the organized crime families, and when people refused to pay because they were cheated, these defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, intimidation, and violence, Tisch said in a statement. So for those of you who were saying, hey, wait a minute, if folks... didn't they figure out something might be up with these games or whatever? Well, some of the folks obviously did. Some of them did realize, hey, this game was rigged. I don't give a damn if Chauncey Billups sitting right there. Chauncey Billups running a crooked game. They like, we ain't gonna pay. That's when the Bonanos and the Lucchese's show up. And here comes Tony Soprano. Hey, you're gonna pay us our money. Man, y'all cheating. We don't give a damn. You gonna pay up. So they're letting you know, even when people figured out the game was rigged, the mafia was like, yeah, you still gonna drop it off. You still gonna drop it off. So that's what was going on. Oh, man. Now, folks have been asking questions. They've been saying things. I'm going to run through some of this other stuff here real quickly. You know, the New York Post had another article that they had put up here. Let me go ahead and throw that up for you here right quick. Ex-NBA champ Rasheed Wallace alleged the refs rigged games in resurfaced video. Ex-NBA star Rasheed Wallace accused professional referees of rigging games in a resurfaced interview that's gone viral in the wake of the gambling scandal that has rocked the league and the sports world. Wallace, 51, a former Detroit Pistons teammate of accused schemer Chauncey Billups, claimed in a 2023 interview that refs conspired to rig games using, quote, secret emails. Quote, with the referees. That's why I was just saying, as I got older, I didn't have to do all the cussing or come with attitudes. Wallace, who had the third most technical fouls in NBA history, told Underdog NBA. So folks are actually going back and saying, hey, didn't somebody say something about this already? Hadn't folks been saying something about this before? And now folks are saying, oh, man. Yeah, it looks like some folks might have been saying something before now. So all my sports heads will probably remember that. There's Wallace, and he said, now I'm just hitting them with logic like, oh, so y'all got that email last night, huh? Then they flare up, he said. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know about y'all's emails. Let's not forget that. I know about that. So, yeah. Yeah, man. There's a bunch of folks on YouTube. There were some people who were talking about, they're saying specific names. There were people who were saying just in the last year or two, specific names, talking about Chauncey Billups, talking about Rozier, and some things they saw during the games. And this was months ago that people were saying, man, you're not going to convince me that game wasn't rigged. You're not going to convince me that wasn't deliberate. Well, I guess those people have been vindicated now. I guess they have been. Oh, boy. Well, let's go a little bit further here, because I wouldn't want these folks to get left out. Back to the New York Post. From the son of a legendary mafia capo named Quack Quack to a wise guy poker pro, these are the reputed mobsters charged in the NBA gambling scandal. So they got the folks sitting up here. There's Ruggiero. So this is Angelo Ruggiero, not the son who's been arrested, but if y'all remember that, of course, he worked under John Gotti. So, yeah, the family business is doing good there. A second wise guy arrested for his alleged role in the FBI's gambling and poker probe is Ernest Ernie Aiello, who made headlines for inquiring in court about how he could avoid mob ties and still eat at his favorite Italian bakery back in 2018. What? This is him, by the way, in case you were wondering. This is him back in 2014. And they said, yeah, he made headlines because he wanted to know if he could avoid getting caught up in that case and still eat at his favorite Italian restaurant, his favorite Italian bakery. So, yeah, well, he's being practical. The 43-year-old Bonanno crime family mobster was busted for loan sharking, gambling, and drug dealing in July 2013, but ultimately walked free after a mistrial in May of 2017. So it took 4 years to get him into court, and in true Gambino, I know he's with the Bonannos, but in true John Gotti fashion, yeah, there was a mistrial. I'm wondering if somebody paid one of the jurors a visit. I got a feeling somebody might have paid one of the jurors or one of the jurors' family members a visit. Hey, we heard your uncle's on the jury there. You know, it'd be a shame if our dude went down because who knows, your whole house could go up in flames. So, yeah, y'all, true mafia stuff here. arrested. Loan sharking, gambling, drug dealing. Oh, mistrial. Mistrial. Isn't that amazing? These mobs go to court and, boy, it's mistrial, mistrial, mistrial. I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion somebody paid a juror's family a visit. During a court hearing the next year, a judge warned him not to commiserate with fellow mobsters, which Aiello said might spoil his breakfast since he frequents a beloved Italian bakery in Brooklyn. Okay, we wouldn't want to mess up his breakfast. Hey, mobster got to eat. Okay, we got that together. There's the indictment. The judge, in turn, warned him to keep his visits to Fortunato Brothers Cafe in Williamsburg short and sweet, according to the Daily News. He's now accused of receiving a portion of the criminal proceeds from the rigged poker games on behalf of the Bonanno crime family. I'm shocked. People, he's been getting arrested for a decade. They get mistrial. Oh, he was already doing illegal stuff while he was on trial. I'm shocked. No way. He's now accused, busted Gambino wise guy Lee Fama, remember I read his name, meanwhile has a history of cleaning up at the poker table. All right, there's Mr. Fama there. Fama raked in more than $22,000 at poker tournaments at the Borgata in Atlantic City and $666, yikes, at Las Vegas's Rio Hotel as DEA officials probed him for conspiring to distribute marijuana in 2012. So much for the mafia not dealing in drugs. He was later arrested for allegedly buying and selling several pounds of marijuana. He's now accused of getting proceeds from the rigged card games on behalf of the Gambino crime family. So he's been doing all the, you want to talk about havoc? The havoc wasn't the poker games. The havoc were what the mobsters were doing. All these dudes doing all this stuff, drugs and marijuana and loan sharking, and they've been on the streets for a decade. They didn't get busted until now. Probably gonna walk here too. Nicholas Fat Nicky Minucci. And by the way, this is Fat Nick. This is Fat Nick. He looks rather, he doesn't look too fat in this picture right here. So maybe there's something else going on. So I don't know. Maybe he's been, on the diet. Nicholas Fat Nick Minucci, a Gambino associate who was convicted of beating a black kid with a baseball bat while shouting nigger in 2005, was also busted in the NBA gambling case. Minucci, 39, of East Northport, was convicted of the hate crime after chasing down battery victim Glenn Moore. I'm sure Megyn Kelly would be very sympathetic in saying it's a big misunderstanding. Megyn Ku Klux Kelly would, of course, be defending Mr. Minucci. At the time, Minucci claimed he was not a bigot and said he only chased down Moore because he thought he'd come to Howard Beach to steal cars.
What?
Yeah, so he's chasing him and calling him nigger because, I was trying to protect people's property. George Zimmerman before George Zimmerman, an American tradition. He was ultimately sentenced to 15 years in prison. He's now accused of participating on cheating teams during the rigged card games. These give you a picture here of one of the programs that they were using. We're going to get in that here in just a few moments. This is one of the card machines. It's a card shuffling machine, but it's got a little camera inside of it that takes pictures of the cards, and it can tell people, who are running the scheme, who's going to get what. Matthew the Wrestler Didino, a hulking, newbie Genovese-made man and former star high school wrestler from Long Island, was also indicted during the historic gambling bust. Dadino is a recently inducted member and rising star of the crime family, Gangland News reported March 2024.
What? Damn!
Maybe somebody should have talked to Gangland News last year. Clearly they had the inside track. They don't just know the members, they know the up and coming stars in the Gambino crime family. A rising star in the Gambino. Okay, all righty. He's accused of receiving cash from the rigged card games on behalf of the Genovese family. In total, 13 alleged members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families were arrested in the gambling and sports betting bust. Among other reputed gangsters charged was Thomas Tony Juice Gallardo, who received proceeds on behalf of the Bonanno family. Other suspects with suspicious names were also busted, including Amar Flappy Poker Awande, Jin Screwly Hu, and Robert Black Rob Stroud, who helped organize the games, and Tony Black Tony Goodson and Shane Sugar Hennon, who helped supply the marks. Yes, sir. And you thought your Facebook screen name was a little odd. You've been feeling self-conscious about your Facebook screen name and your Twitter handle all these years. And I'm like, at least you don't have Flappy Poker. You don't have Flappy. So you're actually getting off better than you thought you were when you think about it. All right, what I want to do now is I want to play this piece here from CNN. I want to let you all know in on some of the technology that was involved. I'm just saying, while they're showing all the black folk, you take a look at what was happening here. And this, I'll give you all an idea of some of the stuff that's available. I don't want to give any of you any ideas because there's going to be some of y'all who are going to go Googling some of this stuff and be like, hey, I can make a grip. Just remember them people watching. So you might not want to get any ideas. But Jake Tapper talked to a fella here, and they have a little bit of a delay between each other, so they're going to talk over each other a little bit from time to time. But listen to some of the gear they were using.
The sprawling FBI probe into mafia-linked gambling and sports rigging schemes is sending shockwaves across the NBA and across the United States. You're looking right now at the high-tech cheating technology that federal officials allege was used to rig poker games, an X-ray poker table to see through face-down cards, a manipulated shuffling machine to predict who gets the best hand, used, officials say, to steal millions from victims. Joining us now is casino game protection and cheating expert Sal Piasanti. Sal, an X-ray table, card rigging.
Forgive me. Sal Piasanti.
Nigga, what?
I mean, I guess he's on the inside. I mean, look, I'm not, besmirching a person's reputation, but oh, boys. I'm like, you probably was living right across the street from him. They say he's an expert. He was probably at the damn table. So, all righty then. But, folks, Sal is gonna get all of us up to speed.
Manipulated shuffling machine to predict who gets the best hand, used, officials say, to steal millions from victims. Joining us now is casino game protection and cheating expert Sal Piasanti. Sal, an X-ray table, card reading chip trays.
And he looks like he's straight out of Central Casting, too, by the way. I mean, he looks like if you owe him $1,000, he'll break your kneecaps. So, I mean, straight out of Central Casting.
Victims. Joining us now is casino game protection and cheating expert Sal Piasanti. Sal, an X-ray table, card reading chip trays, rigged shuffling machines. I didn't know this stuff existed. I guess I'm not surprised, but I didn't know it existed. Can you explain how any of this equipment is used?
I can explain all of it. The X-ray table, that's just a table that has cameras built into it that look upward at the cards. It can actually see through the green felt, so you can use any of cards. As long as the cards lie above the camera can see what that card is and then transmit it. The shuffle machines, we just did a special on YouTube, and where a shuffle machine was hacked. What happens is the Deckmate 2 has a camera in it. And what that camera does, it notifies the casino or the dealer or the house if a card is missing. Also, if you took a deck of cards and put it into that machine, the cameras know every card and can actually sort that deck out and put it back in order for you.
People, My folks in Vegas, y'all need to game folks up about the gear that they're using, the Deckmate 2. That means there was a Deckmate 1. So basically, this thing is like, I guess, an ATM machine for cards. An ATM machine for playing cards, high speed, but it can see everything that goes through it. So this sounds like an ATM for playing cards, and the camera in it's supposed to tell you if a card is missing. These other folks, however, are apparently like using software, and it's telling a whole lot more than if a card is missing. So if y'all got a old used Deckmate sitting around, these other folks came up with a whole new use for it.
You took a deck of cards and put it into that machine. The cameras know every card and can actually sort that deck out and put it back in order for you for the next day or the next play. Well, the cheaters came up with ways of utilizing that camera as well to know what cards are being dealt and who's getting them. And that shuffle machine is altered to transmit to an earpiece to tell the people who are going to win. Also, there are machines that were also designed to do a false shuffle, where when the cheaters put the deck into the machine, it sounds like the cards are being shuffled, but they're not. And then as far as the analyzer, the tray, this has been around for a long time. It's not new by no means. If you want to see a quick example of it, it could be built into the tray or it's built into a cell phone. And basically what happens is this. You could take this deck of cards. Well, first of all, this is a regular phone. It looks like a regular phone. Put your SIM card in it, and it acts like a regular phone. But when I put in a code, now it becomes a cheating phone. So let's go to Texas Hold'em. How many players? Let's say you can name any amount. We'll say 3 to keep it easy. 3 players. And I'm going to put this on loud so you can hear it. So I'm going to put it on speaker.
Okay.
And now it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So when this deck of cards right now is shuffled, it could be in a shuffle machine. It doesn't make a difference. When the dealer takes them out and cuts them, listen to the phone. 3-2. That means right now, seat 3 is going to win. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ace 5 is winning. Here's your burn. There's your flop. 2 pair. Burn, flop, burn, and C3 wins. This phone will tell you who's going to win.
So if you didn't catch that, he's saying after you get the deck out of the machine, the dealer can cut the cards, and the computer is still going to know who's going to win. Even after the dealer cuts the cards. So that's why you were showing him cutting the cards. He's like, I can cut the cards, but the computer, because it put the cards together, it's still going to know who's going to win. And it will tell us who's going to win. We're way beyond card counting, people. This is way beyond card counting. No AI required. You didn't need an AI degree or a data farm or a data center to be able to make this happen. Just a hacked Deckmate machine. Now watch this next part, because he was talking about this before, about that earpiece. Wait till you all see the earpiece thing, because you ain't seen nothing yet.
You heard it out loud, but this phone would also transmit to an earpiece.
Yeah.
This system could
can I just
also
ask
be
you
designed, built,
Yeah.
anything.
But the earpiece thing, is that also relevant for the camera under the table that can read through the felt? Because the dealer is not under the table. He's not seeing it. So somebody else is seeing these images and speaking to the dealer or whomever in their earpiece. Is that right?
Correct. That's right. That information is transmitted elsewhere, and that person receiving the information sends it back. And the earpiece, believe me, is very tiny. This is one of the earpieces that I demonstrate. I don't know if you can see that.
You got to move the camera. Hold it up a little bit.
Folks, do y'all see that? I mean, that thing is like as small as a pill. I mean, that's like smaller than a baby aspirin. Do you see how small that, quote, earpiece? Y'all think it's like the Secret Service. He's like, oh, no. We way beyond that. This is for folks cheating at gambling. Can you imagine the technology that the spy agencies are using? But then again, these people got access to that too. Folks, it's already out there. You see how small that is? Now, of course, this asks the question, if you put that in your ear, nobody's going to see it. Nobody can see that, although it does ask you how you get it out, but he's going to show you how to do that too. But I wanted y'all to see. There's the earpiece that they can be sitting at the table with you using, so that phone that was speaking out loud, instead there'll be somebody talking to you in the earpiece. And that's how big the earpiece is. So no, there's no way you can see it. Even if you're sitting right next to them looking down their ear, you ain't gonna see that.
That I demonstrate. I don't know if you can see that.
You got to move the camera. Hold it up a little bit. Oh my God.
That's it.
That's pretty teeny.
So right
that's
before
like a 1
they go
milligram
onto the
pill.
game, oh, totally. And it goes right into the ear. So now, right now, that earpiece is right next to my eardrum. If you were talking to me,
wild.
sitting right next to me, you could look in. You can't see it. When my partner's talking to me, I hear it so loud. And there's only one way to get that out right now. Magnet.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's
oh my
out.
God, yeah, because otherwise it's going to go in forever and cause you depth perception problems. Sal Piasanti, I could do 6 hours with you on this. This is fascinating. Thank you.
So he's letting y'all know how the game worked. You think you can win a card game? Forget marking cards. Folks talking about folks had glasses and they could see the backs of the cards and things. Well, yeah, they had that going on too. But they were just hitting your ass from every level. They were hitting you from every direction. Here's the way that the games worked. The way that the games worked was that they would entice, people with some money to show up and say, hey, you can come to this card game. Chauncey Billups is going to be there. Hey, you want to come play cards with Chauncey Billups? All right, you're going to have the mark. He's going to be like, oh, hell yeah, man. We'll go do that. So Chauncey is there. But what you don't realize is that everybody at the table is in on the grift. All of them are in on the scheme. The only person who doesn't know is you. So that's the way that they were running these card games. They find a mark. They bring him in. Everybody else at the table is a part of the scheme. They're all a part of the trap. But the new guy who's all starstruck, you the one don't know what's going on. So that's how it went down. Okay, so Chauncey wasn't running nothing. He wasn't running anything. He wasn't in charge of anything, but they used him. They called him a face card. You're a well-known person, so people will think it's legit because you're a part of it. And it's like, no, he in on it too. Oh, man. Oh, we don't know. Now, Gilbert say he's not a part of it now. Gilbert say he isn't. I'm not going to vouch for anybody at this point. Please don't take that as a rebuttal. I'm not vouching for anybody. People at this point right now in professional sports, man, I'm out. I am all the way out. Forget about it. Forget about it. I'm not vouching for anyone. And I'm not talking about just the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. Forget it. I'm out. I'm not vouching for a damn thing. I am not going to vouch for the validity of anything you see in any of these sports, period. This is just the one that got caught, man. This is just the one that got caught. How about all the others? You think this was the only one? Okay, they have eradicated the mafia in professional sports.
Nigga, please.
Is that what you really believe? That they've eradicated the mafia in professional sports? You really think that's what happened? I'm not vouching for anything here. I'm not vouching for nothing. So I'm going to say Gilbert says he ain't have nothing to do with it. I'm like, okay, that's what Gilbert says. All right, but if it goes up, if somebody comes out and it goes another way, okay. Okay. All right. Want to go into one more thing here. I want to go into one more thing because, man, this crosses barriers and boundaries, but there was one in particular here that I wanted to address. There was one in particular I wanted to address because there's some details you want to have here. These folks won't be telling you about that, but there's some details I want to have here. Fox was doing something, I don't really want to deal with them very much here. However, there are some details in here I think you all would like to know or would like to probably, have some idea about as far as what was going on. Because, it's just kind of crazy when you hear about it. It's kind of crazy when you take a look at some of the details of it. Let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen for you. And it's just a reminder, hey, folks, I don't care how well you think things are going. I don't care how well you think things are going. These folk out there watching, man. It says here, Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and former NBA guard and coach Damon Jones were among the more than 24 arrested as part of a widespread FBI investigation on Thursday, officials said Thursday. Redundant. The federal investigation involved multiple agencies and the NYPD as they targeted the La Cosa Nostra crime family in two separate operations across several states. Officials said Billups, Rozier, and Jones faced charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So, Kash Patel, who's desperately trying to resurrect or salvage his image, and dude, this ain't gonna help you. This ain't like it's El Chapo, it's a damn card game. It wasn't even hundreds of millions of dollars, but anyway, they try to make this look way, way big. It's not. It isn't. The NBA and placed Billups and Rozier on immediate leave of absence. You don't say. Officials detailed their two operations, Zen Diagram and Nothing But Net. All right, these names are just getting lazy, people. In a press conference on, folks, if you were a mole working for the FBI and you came across an operation called Nothing But Net, you might not be college educated, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably be able to figure out what this one's focusing on. The Venn diagram, not so sure about that. Oh, we found a program called Nothing But Net. I wonder what that could be. So, Kash Patel's FBI names the NBA investigation Nothing But Net. Kash Patel at it again. Yes, sir. That's that genius level law enforcement intellect at work. Nobody would ever suspect that you were investigating the NBA. Nobody would ever suspect that at all. Nope, not at all. Quote, your winning streak has ended. Your luck is run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that. U.S. Attorney, what a pun. Joseph Nasello said, federal authorities launched an investigation dubbed Operation Venn Diagram into a nationwide gambling ring allegedly involving members of the La Cosa Nostra crime families and allegedly defrauded unwitting victims of millions. The FBI, now listen folks, the FBI said that the proceeds of the activity were allegedly laundered by members of the ring and at some points were converted into cryptocurrency to avoid being detected by law enforcement. The FBI said a confidential source recorded more than 3,000 phone calls.
Damn!
A confidential source, that means they got somebody to flip, recorded more than 3,000 phone calls and meetings with the targets of its investigation. What that means, people, is they've been watching them since 2019. They've basically been watching you through the whole damn pandemic to have 3,000 calls. The source introduced undercover agents to the targets and participated in a rigged poker game. Officials said the poker games involved cheating devices such as rigged shuffling devices and x-ray tables. Boy, oh boy. Billups was arrested as part of the illegal poker takedown. Nocella said the alleged schemers targeted victims known as Fish, who lured victims by giving them a chance to play alongside former pro athletes known as face cards. He said Billups and Jones were dubbed as a face card by the schemers. Okay, whoever wrote this is very redundant. Nocella said the Fish didn't know that the face cards were in on the scam. Nocella said the schemers were given non-public information about who would be sitting about at. Nocella said that the schemers were given non-public information about who would be sitting out future games or when they would be pulling themselves out early for injuries or illnesses. Jonte Porter, a former Toronto Raptors, received a lifetime ban for the NBA and pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud as part of a gambling scheme last year. So what they're letting you know is that that's continuing also. Okay. New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said Rozier faked an injury to leave a March 23, 2023 game between the Charlotte Hornets and New Orleans Pelicans. Rozier was alleged to have told co-defendant De Niro Laster that he would take himself out of the game so Laster can bet on it. So basically, folks, it's not about, in case you didn't know, it's not about wins or losses. It's about the over and under. So if they say you're going to make so many points in the game or you're going to be limited in how many points you make, so folks are betting on specific players making the over and under. Well, if he takes himself out of the game, that's it. So he can literally decide how many points he puts up in the game. And once that's done, he's out. And the folks that he's helping, that's it. They can go place their bets because they already know what's going to happen. The NBA cooperated with the investigation, you think, while the NBA is getting itself knee-deep off into gambling. While they're getting knee-deep off into gambling, y'all. What is that, FanDuel and all those other gambling sites and stuff? Yeah, they're knee-deep off into it. Talking about they're cooperating. Okay. So, all right, they're throwing everybody else under the bus. They're throwing everyone else under the bus here. So, yeah, that happened. So we're asking about, how is it that the black folk are the ones who got perk walked and things? So in all fairness here, I will play for you one clip here. There's one clip from Michael Francis. I'm sure a bunch of y'all have heard about him for his YouTube show that he does. So he gave his 2 cents about the perp walk thing. You can take it for what it's worth.
Rosier's attorney, I'm not going to read this, was mad because they didn't allow him to surrender. They made him do the perp walk. Hey, Welcome to the real world. You think these agencies don't want to get publicity? Of course they do. Why do you think they came after Cosa Nostra? Because we made headlines for them. They're not going to hide it. They're not going to not put it out in the media. They want people to know. Why do you think it's been all over the media this morning? Because this is a feather in their cap. This is how they get promotions. Why do you think they worked against us so much? Because we made headlines. You lock up John Gotti, big deal. You lock up Sonny Francis, big deal. Al Capone, Lucky Luke, big deal. You get promoted. So of course, it's naive. You lock up an NBA player. I'm sorry, it's big news. You got to expect that. They're not going to let you backdoor it. I'm surprised at this attorney coming out and what do you expect?
Okay, folks, now, Michael can say that, but I'll be damned. I mean, if it was Britney Spears, if it was Scarlett Johansson, come on, man. Maria Navratilova, do you all think you're going to see her doing a perp walk? Do you think that if this was a white female athlete that she would be doing I'm talking about that she's the damn ringleader of the damn gambling thing. You think she's doing the perp walk? I am highly skeptical that she gonna be doing the perp walk. So that's their 3 cents on this. So you all can take a look into these things here. You know me, I'm not a big, sports person in any regard. However, couldn't help but notice under Trump's DOJ, all of a sudden, here we go. But it begs a bigger point, people. It begs a bigger point here going forward. I don't know. Maybe some of you want to weigh in on this and explain, how deep does this go? Are we going to see more of this? Is this just the beginning? Are they actually going to take that seriously? Or are all these leagues just like, okay, these guys got caught? How much of this do you think is happening? How far? How many sports leagues? Now, we know, of course, nobody's going to be investigating hockey. Damn! Now, of course, nobody's going to be investigating hockey. No one's going to look into hockey. No one's going to look into golf. I have a very stinking suspicion. Yeah, nobody's going to look into those. So they can basically do as they please over there. And nobody's going to be looking into those. But for everything else there, I got a sneaking suspicion they're going to have them eyes on you. They're going to have those eyes on you. Do they have a gambling problem? How big is it? How many of you were aware of this before the indictments? That's something I want to ask here in particular. How many of you were aware of this before the indictments? How many of you have been saying, I'm curious, for my sports heads. Everybody's talking about it now, but I'm really curious who had a heads up before now. And do you think if these were white folk, they'd be making them perp walk out there? You'll be able to weigh in on that. We're going to go ahead and pin the Zoom link to the top of the chat room there. So you can go ahead and get loaded up, sit back, smile, and dial. And you can weigh in here as well. So, yeah, by the way, they're dragging other folks' names into it. They drug LeBron's name into it, talking about he got injured and that information got passed on, but it wasn't public information. So, yeah, man, they're dragging folks' names out. I don't know. Do y'all think it's over, or do you think that this is just getting started rolling and they're going to grab some more people? They've said that they want the NBA commissioner to come testify before Congress. Damn, that was fast. They want Adam Silver to come testify before Congress. Damn, that was fast. So, oh man. And obviously he knew something was up. He obviously knew something was going on. So, gonna be interesting to see how that breaks down. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Before we do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to my man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you very much for your support tonight, brother. We appreciate that. To my man, Mark B. To Tom Slick, Najee, Black to Death, Casino Progressive, thank you all very much for your support here as well. We're going to see about taking a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll be taking some of your calls here and more. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we ripping the games. Used to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And yeah, man, we're asking some questions about this. You go to turn yourself in, and I'll be damned, half the cameras in New York City are conveniently aware that you were turning yourself in that day. So, yeah, very convenient. I'm sure it's all just a coincidence. So, folks, isn't it amazing? We're going to go grab all the black folk here, snatch them up. Meanwhile, the mobsters, no perk walk over there and whatnot, they've just been running the city now for over a century and mistrials and other various fooleries. So, to my sports people out there, is this the end of this, or are they going to be looking for others to drag into this? Could LeBron find himself in this? Are they going to start doing a review of people using AI, Palantir or something to see if people's injuries or whatever look funny or look suspicious? Wonder how far that'll go. This will be your opportunity to weigh in on that. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. See if we can go ahead and get Brandon up here on Zoom for us here right quick. All right, let's see where Brandon is at. All right, Brandon, what's on your mind?
How you doing, my brother? Now, my question is, like, with all this Chauncey Billups and all this situation, it's really nothing that's new. If we go back to Pete Rose, and let's not get into what Jordan done. Jordan was the most gambling person in the game. I done witnessed, you can go online right now with Jordan sit there and stated, hey, I'll drop 40 on you. Look at these people in the eyes. Hey, pay me my money. That is strictly prohibited in the NBA. Now, with that being said, when it was Jordan, the NBA was about to crash. They needed somebody with some cash, man. They needed somebody with some shine. They need somebody with some aspiration that can inspire them to get some money. So Jordan brought in that bread. But Jordan did a lot of gambling. It's just a coincidence that Daddy just happened to leave here. And then Jordan so happily got a suspension for 2 years. So what I'm stating is, this is just a recurring offense. This is not nothing new. This is what these people have done. It's always run by the mob. When I put in the statement of the subways that's in New York, all that's run by the mob. The toll booths that we go through, that's run by the mob. Everything is run by the mob. What is the United States government? The mob. So what I'm saying is, what is we going to do to change the system and get rid of the mob?
Folks, I mean, some of y'all can disagree with some of what he's saying, but after this week, I don't know if you can just dismiss it out of hand. On the one hand, I want to say you really believe the mob is running it, but damn, they just arrested 24 people. So, folks, I mean, does the mob run sports? We thought that was a bygone era. At least they made you think after they got Gotti and after Giuliani, oh, don't worry about this. So I think we really got to start asking your favorite athletes, your favorite players. Do they, when you talking about putting your kids in the NBA and the NFL, and you talking about the coach and the GM and the offensive coordinators, what about Vinny the leg breaker and Louis Longhorn, y'all? It's Louis Long Island Louis. I don't know, folks. I mean, does the mafia run sports still? Do they still run it?
Yes, they do. And this is why I truly believe they run it. This is why I truly believe they run it. I have watched sport. I'm 41 young. I have watched sports from the era when it wasn't no sports. I mean, no gambling in sports, and see how the games was played. It was with integrity. People, I don't care if people talk about if they was on cocaine or whatever. They played with integrity. Now, you can see these players, they will let a person slide and let them get a touchdown and let them get a free throw and all this. All this is rigged. And these celebrities, they are in it too. It's just, okay, what I'm stating is, they understand you are court jesters. If you want this fame, if you want this luxury, if you want to be these prestige individuals, you're going to do what I tell you to do. If you don't, then I'm going to put you at the bottom of the map just like everybody else.
Y'all, I mean, it's a fact. It's not speculation. It's a fact. The mafia started Hollywood, the movie systems, the music business. Y'all should know about that. The mafia started that. They've been running that, so that's why black folk had to be gangster in the music business, because the mafia was already there. So the porn business, I mean, you can't even be a hoe in America without going past the damn mafia. So, I mean, when you think about it, and we don't even talk about drugs, so that's totally illegal. I'm just talking about the stuff that's technically in the chat room. I mean, now boxing has always been the poster child for it. They've always been poster child for it, but and I think that took that one, because that one was just so damn blatant, and somebody beating somebody else side the head. That's just like, okay, that looks gangster just to begin with. Good. So folks can wrap their heads around that, but with this other stuff here, man, like I say, it's just, I think we have to get what is old is new again. They did good for a minute, brother. Exactly. The mafia did good for a minute. They were quiet. They've been laying low for the last 20, 25 years. You notice there hasn't been another John Gotti. Gotti messed up the game because he went high profile. So they've been laying low since Giuliani and Gotti. The money ain't as thick as it used to be because they can't move the way they used to move because everybody, you get life sentencing now for that. Here come a RICO. But yeah, man, we're going to have to start reconsidering that whole thing now. Them folks are still out there. And if you trying to come up in any kind of game, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody sitting at the table is, hey, bro, it's going to be like this or it's going to be like that. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, my brother, listen. I love this channel, but it's an implement of your other channel too. Because everything that you said on the other channel was happening with this channel. These people is destroying themselves. And we just get to sit back and watch and blow out popcorn and sit back and chill. But, bro, I appreciate you, love everything that you do, and salute to you, my brother. Be at peace.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's very easy to dismiss that stuff. What I'm saying is that going forward, for those of us who are a bit older, man, we talk about a lot of things. We better tell these young folk about the mafia. We better tell them about these organized crime rackets that are already in these systems. We better let these folk know about that. We're sitting up here sending our kids out there and we tell them about half the damn story and they don't know the history of it. They don't know the damn history of it there, man. That means something. Just letting you know. Folks, when they got their hook, I mean, the real thing is take a look at how they get them. And here's the thing. Once you in, you in. People, they don't understand. Once you start, I don't know what you did to get fooling with the mafia, but once you're in, you in. You can't get out. If you are their boy on the Portland Trail Blazers, you making money, you ain't going to get to come back next week and say, okay, y'all made a couple million, I'm done. Done? No, bro. You ain't done with nothing. You done when we say you done. Long as you making money, you going to make that bread. So once you get into bed with them, you don't get out. So there's the real problem of it. You're going to end up with the feds one way or another. Either you going to turn or you going to get turned out. Once you start earning for them, they ain't going to let you go. Once you start earning, they're not going to let you go. Yeah, you owed them $1 million, but once you start earning, you ain't walking away. Long as you making us $1 million a month, oh hell no. No. It's going to keep rolling. Let me go ahead and jump over here and get to Blanco over here on Zoom. Man, y'all, it's a dirty game. And they going to get to you how they get to you. It might be through you. It might be through a girlfriend. Man, look here. They still at it. All right, Blanco, what's on your mind?
Jason, good to see you again. Good to talk to you. Man, so I'm always just thinking, like, with this story, Pulp Fiction, Marcella Wallace tells him, hey, in the 5th round, your ass goes down. Repeat after me, all that. And then we see Moneyball. And so, the mafia has always been around, like money's always been around in sports. But then my question then is, why now suddenly? Like the other guy said, Jordan was, notorious with gambling. Like, sure, crime is crime. I get that. But it couldn't be that they just need another distraction, right? Because when Harvey Weinstein was supposed to be, arrested and whatnot, it just so happened that NBC remembered that Bill Cosby was doing all these rapes. Not saying that, you know what I mean? Like, so I get it. The players are probably doing some nefarious shit, but are there going to be any owners that get arrested or anything? Or is it just the players?
No, it's just the low folk who go down. That's going to be it right there. Look, with the NBA and the sports leagues and stuff, they've gone hip deep off in this gambling thing. Folks don't really realize they're off in it now because there's a lot more money to make. I mean, I've been watching this, something uncharacteristic for me. I've been watching the sports shows and stuff, man. Some of the former athletes and things, and they're all now they're saying something. They weren't saying anything last year, but now they're saying something that, yeah, this is why in a lot of cases, people be upset. Fans are upset if you lose the game, because it's like they came to come watch their gambling bet pay off. They don't give a damn about the sport. They came to watch their gambling bet pay off for them, and if it don't, they're mad, but they're not mad for the reason they're saying they are. And right now, I think you got a lot of that going on. I think you have a lot of that going on. I mean, you can gamble online. You can gamble from your cell phone. You don't have to go anywhere. Hell, teenagers are being taught how to gamble. Folks, for those of you who don't know, sports gambling for teenagers is huge, people. You've got Instagrammers who make millions selling phony courses, selling phony tips, but sports gambling aimed specifically at teenagers through video gaming and other things, it's huge. I mean, you want to talk about social media influencers? The gambling sector, in case y'all didn't know, is enormous right now. I'm not talking about millions. I'm talking about hundreds of millions at least. There's a huge area of the internet right now specifically aimed at teenagers. Yeah, fantasy football, among other things, even the main stuff, grooming them and teaching them how to bet, all the ins and outs of it, setting up parlay and everything. So by the time your kids make it to college, look, some of them going to be heavy gambling addicts. I'm just letting y'all know there's a whole lot more going on Instagram than booty popping and cat videos. Whole lot more. In case you parents didn't know, y'all better wake the hell up. We've been focusing on a bunch of other stuff here, and then the mafia involved too. So, okay, your kids will have no problem sitting at the damn table with Angelo Ruggiero Jr. They figure he's just another person to play against. Now be damned. They sit next to real gangsters. So I'm giving y'all a heads up, and sports will be the candy coating that lets it in. Okay, it's just sports. We love our sports. What's wrong with putting a few dollars on it? Okay, he gets a little side job or whatever. What's wrong with a few hundred? And don't let him win. Don't let your son win. If he wins one time, he's not going to tell himself he's lucky. He's going to tell himself he's skilled. And after that, he gone. I'll let you have the last word.
It's almost like they built an entire industry out of it. But again, it's like, where were these arrests 20 years ago, 30 years ago? So we're led to believe that, Cash Patel doing his hardest, he's working for us, right? So he just found out that sports are rigged. Again, there's something else attached to this that I'm sure you're going to do some deep dives, and I'm sure you're getting into it. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like there's something here. It didn't just happen yesterday that Chauncey Billups just so happened, like Michael Vick, you know what I mean? Like, so only Michael was doing something, so nobody was aware.
Yeah, just to remind folk here, because there were folks about, well, Michael didn't bet on the game. Okay, folks, come on now. We've been talking about, for those of you who don't know, we've been talking about Michael Jordan's father now for decades. And then you take a look at who killed him. Come on, y'all. Come on, some of this naive. You're the same people who will tell us that you do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy. But Michael Jordan, no, they ain't have nothing to do with Michael gambling. Okay, then what does daddy do? Come on, man. At some point, we have to say, how many quote coincidences are we looking at? And I'm not going to necessarily say that's definitely what happened. What I will say is, by the way, they got at this dude for what, man? For what? People, wake up. There's too many coincidences happening in this thing. There's too many. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I'm not saying XYZ happened. I'm saying, damn, sure a whole lot of hinky things seem to pile up. The single most notorious famous gambler in the league, and next thing you know, dad gets killed, and it's like, and just nobody knows why. All right. Let's go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom right quick here. Let me see if we can get Chili up here on Zoom. All right, Chili Mo, what's on your mind?
What's going on with you, JB, man? What up, Unc? That's why you the authority, man, because you're the only one that's you're gonna lay it down to a straight, no chaser, man. But I just want to say the quiet part out loud for the people, for the family, man. It's 2025, and I'm not mad at Chauncey Billups for getting his hustle on.
I'm really not. I'm really not.
Issue, like my big issue, you didn't have the knife to my bad. You ain't had a knife to slice the pie, man. You letting these guineas punk you, man. You letting these guineas play you as a shield, and everybody else who was getting played as suckers and shields, man. Y'all, hey, where's the black mob to muscle in on this? It's 2025. We still letting these guineas play us. I seen Hoodlum like everybody else seen Hoodlum. I was mad at the black dude. I forgot the name of that actor who was working with Dutch Schultz. I was mad at him like everybody else. What the hell is we doing? We
dudes are getting out here, and I don't know. I don't have the details. I'm not sure how it is, but if you have a vice or a weakness, these people gonna get to you. If your vice is women, that's how you get on the drugs. If your vice is drugs, that's how you get into gambling. So if you have a weakness, these people, I mean, they're experts, brother. They're experts in vice. They've been doing this for centuries. So if you got a weakness, they're going to get you. And if you owe them a little, that's it. They're going to be into you, especially if you're gambling. I mean, I think that's a major reason why so many of the big name athletes go to retire broke. I think they retire broke because most of them start gambling, either because they're competitive or because they're trying to make back up the money they lost. Because now you got to bet big so you can get some big wins, but that also sets you up to make some big losses. So I think that's really what powers it. And these other folks are like, oh, we'll loan you something. Okay, so you get $100,000, you waste $1 million, you get $100,000 for somebody to go bet, but you don't know he got it from damn me, the Gambino family. So now when you go back to him with your sob story, he's coming to you talking about, well, you know, bro, that money wasn't really from me, though. That was really from, Angelo Ruggiero and them. So you don't have to repay me. You got to repay them. Bro, when that happens, you belong to the game. When that happens, that's it. This is going to end in jail or the grave. That's the only way this is going to be. The Fed's going to get you or the mafia going to get you. That's it. You're done. And don't even know it.
I know you know better than I know, but how much trouble you think they would have got in if they was doing it? If they was the ones running the scheme?
I mean, you saw what happened to Michael Vick. Y'all saw what happened to Michael Vick, so for just dog fighting. So they're going to try to grab them in their own kind of way. But definitely, I think what happened was, I think when we get down to it, we're going to find out that Chauncey owed somebody. And they just said, okay, you're going to have to work this off, or we're going to go to the league. We're going to snitch on you, whatever. So I think he just got caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. And they were saying, okay, he's the expendable one. So if things go south, we're going to throw it all on him. Somebody in between flip, because that's what always happens. Somebody going to get caught. Somebody going to flip. They're going to go to them people. And the people going to grab all of you. But I think the idea that they had before was just Chauncey and the Negroes going to go down. But whoever he owed or whatever he got into them for, they wasn't going to let him off. They wasn't going to, brother, you're too valuable. You're too damn, and the mafia is too damn starving today. They're not making money like they used to. They used to have whole rackets racked up. Yeah. Now they don't have that anymore. So if they do get something that's paying 7 figures, oh, hell no. No, they're going to hold on to you, and they're just going to take their chances with the feds. That's really where we're at today. When the mafia goes down today, man, they're just going to take their chance with the feds because they ain't eating like they used to eat. So your kids got to be aware of it. Y'all got to know of it, whether they get into sports or on the periphery of it. This is where we're at today. I'll let you have the last word.
I don't know if you seen that interview with Ginobus Arena when he was on there sounding like a pure coward, talking about he gonna tell on all the black people, but he's scared to tell on the mafia folks, and all the black dudes sitting there he and hi with him. I'm like, boy, y'all dudes, man, y'all scared of these guineas in 2005. What they gonna do that they ain't already did to y'all? And the old boy got a whole charge, a hate crime on a black kid. Man, y'all better hold y'all nuts, man. These guineas ain't moving like how they supposed to been moving in the first place, man. I'm done with all that. I ain't into sports anyway because we ain't got no hands on that. Don't nobody own none of them teams, and we in there balling and shot calling on something that we don't even own. But JB, you know I love you, man. Keep doing what you doing, man.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight here, y'all. I mean, between the Italian mafia with gambling, the South Americans with the drugs, the Asians with the hookers. Man, you catching it from every which direction. Organized crime is all over this thing. They the organized criminals and we the organized marks. Do they run this thing, y'all? Does the mafia still run this thing? And if they do, what is it going to end up being? Let me go ahead and get back over here on Zoom right quick. We got Daryl here on Zoom. Daryl, what's on your mind?
Good evening, Jason. Thank you for having me. Another excellent broadcast as always. And one thing you said earlier on, I know you said you weren't a sports person, but you did predict this. You talk about separation of the herd. Lord Jesus, this is one. Man, and it's really something to see because of the fact that this has been done a long time. One of the earlier people that were viewing said something. This has been done a long time. Some was swept under the rug. Some was moved to the side. Some was moved to the left. But overall, this had to come to this. And there's going to be more to come, a lot more to come. This is just the start of it. Because it's like the last caller said, something's not right. And something's triggering this. Because if it goes like this, something else is there. And it's going to be brought to the attention of everybody. You know, because it's TV ratings are down with the NBA and TV ratings are down with other sports as well because of things like this. So another excellent broadcast as always. That's all I got to say about that, Jason.
Thank you very much for checking in with us tonight, brother. Like I say, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I definitely think the heat's on. I think people are going to get real nervous because folks are watching. If there's anybody, I mean, first Gilbert Arenas and now this. I mean, come on, folks. All right. One player last year, and then here we go again. It's like, okay, I see a pattern forming. Let me go ahead and get Xavier up here on Zoom right quick. Let me get Xavier up here. All right, we got Xavier. What's on your mind, brother?
How you doing, man? Okay, I'm about to give y'all some info about what triggered this, okay? You know Macau, right? In China?
Okay, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, the NBA last week just had a major what is it? A major show or a major game in Macau, China. And as many may not know, Macau is the gambling capital of Asia. Macau, not Hong Kong, but Macau. The Chinese are primarily using gambling to launder money. Now, what's been happening over the past 20 years, the reason why China has been like investing so much into the NBA and sponsoring it, pretty much buying it out, is because the Chinese are primarily looking at getting control of one of the four major pillars of culture, those being food, fashion, sports, music, and also film. But pretty much same way that China took over the WHO through gambling and everything like that. Again, having that game in Macau, because again, they spent like billions on casinos, billions of dollars in gambling happens in China, and especially coming out of Macau. And again, that's the main way that the Chinese Communist Party and a whole lot of officials, that's the way that they launder money through it. So as soon as I heard gambling and everything, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't they just have this here? They just had that here in Asia about a week, 2 weeks ago. Oh, so now, okay. So this ain't, because sports betting and gambling has been happening for years, decades. So what's triggering it now? Oh, the fact that they just got through doing Macau. So obviously the CCP and them people, they talking to everybody. And one of Trump's major nemesis and one of the main things he wants to do is take down China. And I was like, oh, let's use these Negroes to do it, because they've been like and they've always been harping on the NBA for like the past, I don't know, shall we say, ever since his past term, he's always like, okay, the NBA, China's taking over the NBA. The NBA is this. So this is pretty much what triggered it.
That could be a major factor in it, man. I can't discount it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. And that's one scenario for you all to consider. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Morpheus up here on Zoom. Morpheus, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? Great broadcast. Actually, just to piggyback on what the last caller said about China, China is the biggest import of what they call it, fentanyl. And I know gambling is big and NBA is big in China. So, that's actually a good point. But I was going to say it's in all sports. And we know the biggest one, NFL, with the whole Marshawn Lynch thing. That always looked funny to me, him not getting the ball when he was right there. And then there was other plays as well. Are they going to get on the refs? If it's the players, the refs are in on it. Some of these refs got some bad gambling debts.
Yeah, remember they arrested one, a decade ago, I think it was, He was rigging games and whatnot, making calls. And that was just one they arrested. But now, he was white, though. No, he was white. So I'm just like, okay, they ain't going to dig any deeper than that. With the black folk are concerned, oh no, let's go ahead and grab all of y'all. Let's get all of y'all. And yeah, when you bring up things like that, brother, that's a hell of a can of worms to open. If you start opening up the NFL and the MLB, and start talking about some of the crazy plays you see and stuff like that, they're just completely inexplicable. I'm gonna go there. So you have and I'm not a sports expert, but so you have a rookie quarterback in New York. Was he playing the Denver Broncos? Very well established team. The coach Sean Payton, he coached New Orleans for years and years. New York is up by 3 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, the Broncos make 3 touchdowns and win the game. In the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter.
Yeah. I'll add more to that. I think that's why we see certain players and certain coaches not being promoted, because they're not playing ball by throwing games off.
That's another thing to consider. Yeah. When you take a look at games that have that right there, it's like, okay, I'm not saying anything, but Jackson Dart, brand new rookie quarterback, and he beats the San Diego Chargers. It was a squeaker. First game he plays, beats the San Diego Chargers. Okay. But then loses they have this unbelievable collapse to the Broncos. Just fourth quarter, crazy collapse. I'm like, okay, a person could be forgiven for raising an eyebrow. And when you bring up, by the way, does that explain why certain people don't get promoted? Certain folk can't be coaches no matter how good they do. Yep. Boy, like I said, do we really want to open this can of worms? Because it would explain everything, but it would also mess up everything.
I know the NFL tickets say it on the back of it that this is entertainment. So that's how they try to wiggle their way out of it. And also, your boy, what's his name? Sierra's husband.
Russell Wilson.
Well, I think he's in on it too, because he's been sucking for a long time, but he keep getting a job.
Well, certainly you have to be in the game to be useful to him. So that would be the only thing that would mess him up, is he'd have to actually be playing to be a part of the scheme. So you can't be part of the scheme sitting on the bench. So maybe if he ever gets his way off of it, we'll see. But you introduce a very ominous specter into this, because that would explain why you got so many black players but so few black coaches, general managers and stuff. Yeah, the folks in management, it's like, yeah, he's not going to play ball, so we're going to do something different. And the other folk could just leave you out to dry. That's an ominous one, but it's possible.
Yeah, I think that's why they don't want us as coaches, because, especially foundational black Americans, we have honor and integrity. Because, one of us would have said it. They don't want to bring us in on that type of stuff. And when you put that factor in, it makes sense. Like even in the NBA, Doc Rivers, how come every time Doc Rivers is winning, they trade him? All the time. Like he's winning, he's making a team that was nothing to something.
No, whether it's Tony Dungy or whatever, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're a black coach, you ain't gonna last. It doesn't matter what you do. You can bring home that Vince Lombardi trophy, you'll be leaving no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And we know so many coaches that are white on the NFL side and NBA side that suck, but they always get the best positions. And maybe because they throw games when they're told. I think
if there were a real investigation, I wonder how much we'd really find. First of all, you find a whole lot more white players. That's the first thing you find. But I'm just like, okay, how is it you all are looking at this stuff and all you find is the black players? So really, seriously, they're the only ones involved in this kind of thing? Really?
You know, they always try to make us the face of crime.
Well, yeah, I mean, because before now it was all about Pete Rose and then the other dude right there. So I see that exactly the way you do, is that they see this as an opportunity to make us, quote, the face of criminality about something. So we can ignore all these other dudes over here, the folk who really running it. Got 3 black fellas and a bunch of Italians and Albanians. Well, don't worry about the Italians and Albanians. Just take a look at the Negroes. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, anything negative, they always going to do that. Just like they were trying to make us the face of, the virus. You know that. I don't want to mess up your channel. And, so, yeah, definitely got to look into this. It's surprising the FBI is looking at it, but yeah, somebody white at the top that's really control of this.
No, remember, when you had the White Sox scandal back in the 20s, there was a reason why the federal government got involved. If people lose all faith in the validity of those sports, man, y'all, can you imagine what a collapse that would be today? Take a look at the cost of these NFL stadiums. $1 billion, $2 billion to build a stadium. Forget all the other perks and incentives. Just the building of a stadium. If you had a collapse in interest of the NFL because people saw it, as being phony, could you imagine what that would do economically? Can you imagine that?
When the virus was happening, they wanted to make sure the sports. I mean, we live in today's society of bread and circus. And back to your point about young people, all those young people that's on Twitch and Kick, like Aiden Ross, they all got gambling contracts, getting big time money.
And their audience is primarily teenagers. Mm-hmm. There's the thing I want everybody to know is that, by the way, on the one hand, of course, you don't want your kids watching porn and stuff like that. But I'm like, by the way, there's other vices that are being directly promoted to your kids that folk wouldn't even know about. I mean, this stuff looks like video games. When you get into fantasy football and stuff, they look like video games. So how would your parents know the difference between that and Madden football?
Let me add on that. I'm 38 years old. I have a 14-year-old child, female. I mean, I am battling. Any parent that's actually really serious about being a parent, they know what I'm talking about is true. They are hitting us every which way. I mean, I had to block Spotify because I didn't know that they had erotic novels on Spotify. Who would have thought that? So they're hitting us everywhere if you're trying to keep your kids from other stuff. I have to ban everything. Of course, she feels some type of way because she wants to be in the loop with all the other kids, but no. It is too much. It's very hard to be a parent nowadays.
You cannot be an absentee parent, and you cannot depend on the corporations to protect your children. And your Instagram feed is totally different from your children's Instagram feed. Your TikTok feed is totally different from theirs. Your YouTube feed is totally different from theirs. And a lot of folks figure, well, that makes us, how bad could it be? I mean, these folks got YouTube programs. They have YouTube programs. I can name for you right now, based on what I've just seen in the last 3-4 days, I can name for you right now 3 or 4 YouTubers who got YouTube channels where they're openly promoting gambling.
Yep.
In the middle of the damn program, they're talking about gambling. Yep. So, I mean, that's not behind the scenes. I'm talking about people with 1 million, 2 million subscribers. I'm not talking about a couple of hundred. 1 million, 2 million subscribers, 400,000-500,000 views per video. So we're not talking about they bull jiving. I mean, out here for real. And your kids are watching, man.
And most of them are on Twitch. And if you're a parent and you're not paying attention to that,
no, Twitch is a madhouse. Twitch is the Wild West. It's just everything's happening over there. Everything's happening. There is no filter.
And
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me see if we can get Jeremy up here on Zoom. All right, Jeremy, go ahead and unmute yourself. All right, brother, what's on your mind?
First of all, I really appreciate your broadcast. Longtime listener. Based on your question, does the mob still run sports and sports gambling? I would say absolutely. They've been running it for a long time. And it's not just the NBA, it's the MLB, it's the NFL. They're pretty much running it all. And you're seeing all of these entities move towards open gambling. But the thing is, it kind of makes them seem like a hypocrite because you're promoting this gambling. Every commercial break on a sports program is FanDuel, it's Underdog, it's Kalshi, all these gambling platforms all over the place. Every commercial break, you can't even watch TV without seeing sports gambling. But then they want to come down on black folks and make them the face of the gambling based on what we can read. It just seems like they're the face. They're just like, okay, we know Terry Rozier, we know Chauncey Billups. That gets them some cachet, but the people actually running the gambling, it's non-black folks. But they're not getting put out on Front Street. That's just something that I don't like.
And beyond just the image aspect of it there, you know, we know who's actually running these things. We know who's actually benefiting from it, who's in control of it. And I'm just going to say this right here. I don't gamble. You all know me. I'm a square with six sides. I don't do any of that. But I ain't really got a problem with it, to be totally honest with you. I mean, I'm not jumping out of my chair. It's not a nationwide crime wave because Chauncey Billups is running a damn card game. I'm sorry, people. It's not that. I don't want him doing it next door to me, but I mean, it's not a nationwide crime wave. You got casinos all over the country. You know, I really, that doesn't bother me. Now, some of this rigged game stuff, I mean, okay, call that for whatever it is, you know, but as far as just the gambling part of it, I mean, it that's the kind of part right there that doesn't bother me necessarily. The other stuff is a different matter, and it makes it easier to get folks into it. But this is the way it works. This is what I'm trying to say. Chauncey and them are like the porn chicks, you know, and the NBA and them are like the porn companies or the cable companies that, you know, had the porn channels. Well, if you're putting the porn channel on your network, you're in the porn business. That's it. If you give him Playboy space and the Spice Channel space and the Hustler Channel space on your cable, you know, feed, you're in the porn business. Okay, but you might not be booty clapping and whatnot, but you're in the porn business. So we end up on the booty clapping end, and they end up over there in the, you know, Hustler Tower, Playboy Mansion Tower end of it. So that's how that's the they're engaged in the gambling business is what you're saying. And this is what, you know, is kind of strange now because I grew up my whole life with the NBA and NFL, you know, saying nothing but distancing themselves from gambling and not want to be a part of it. And we don't do that and this, that, and the other. And now, subtle as hell, they knee deep off in it right now today. If nobody's been watching, if y'all haven't watched the NFL in the last 5 years, man, they are knee deep off in it. NBA knee deep off, neck deep off, and they went jumped in with all 4 feet. They're on the end where they can participate and ain't nobody going to indict them. No one's going to indict them for what they're doing on their end. There will be no indictments. The rest of you are hanging out here and we'll see.
Absolutely. And case in point, I watch Charlotte Hornets basketball from time to time. They used to have a deal with Bally Sports that they let lapse maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. So anyone in the Charlotte area or in North Carolina, you couldn't watch the Hornets games for like 2 or 3 years. And essentially what ended up happening was there's actually a game going on right now, and it's a FanDuel channel. FanDuel is the only way you can watch Charlotte Hornets games because everything else is blacked out. So if you want to watch games for certain teams now, you literally have to go to FanDuel's TV program just to watch the games. But then they say, okay, you black athletes, y'all are gambling, but they're the low level gamblers. It's not like they're the big wigs really moving things. They're blowing this way out of proportion to me. and they're just making black people the face of the gambling, the way that they make black people the face of everything, to be quite frank with you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, folks, I mean, the NFL and the NBA, they making their money off of it. They're involved in gambling too. They're involved in it too. Everybody else, okay, we can arrest you though. Let me go ahead and see if we can get MB up here on Zoom right quick. Let me get MB up here. All right, let me see here. MB, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, bro. Thanks for having me on here, man. Yo, what's crazy for me about this? I'm looking at this like a bigger magnitude as to why, a partial reason as to why this happened. Because how much money total are we talking about? Like millions of dollars, like 20, 40 million, like millions of dollars that might be involved all together when all is said and done with this right here. But I want to say like it was like a little more than a week earlier beforehand, one of the biggest things of inside trading happened, in which what was it, on the 10th, when Trump announced on 450 that tariffs on 100% tariffs of China, and but people were betting or short in the market, I mean like crypto markets, up until like 449. And then after that, through that weekend, $19 billion was liquidated out of exchanges. Meanwhile, there was a recipient that was making almost like 190 million in shorts, just shorting the market. So yeah, nobody was talking about that, and no one was, people were talking about it, but it wasn't really in the mainstream like that. And then, well, is it a coincidence that like 10 some days later they started cracking down on, basically us, people looking like us, like, if you, hey, look, you can use them wiretapping laws or whatever. You already know that whoever's shorting, manipulate the markets like that on the insider trading, ain't no one that looks like you and me. So I mean, that's why it's like a lot of funny business that no one is. It also makes a convenient distraction. We're not talking about that. We're look at Chauncey Billups or whatever. Like, yeah, man, it's a lot of it is shady.
It's not illegal anymore, though, brother.
Mm.
I need y'all to understand the crypto crimes aren't illegal anymore. I'm not just talking. Take a look at Logan Paul, all that stuff, all these rug pulls and stuff like that. Man, they're not prosecuting none of that. They giving these folk an investigation. Oh well, nothing to see here. I mean, that's literally what's happening. Let's not even talk about Trump and his crap coins. And you're a president, you're not even supposed to be doing that. But folks, I'm just letting y'all know it's not even illegal anymore. I mean, all that rug pull stuff, man, it ain't even illegal anymore. Not since he walked in office. Not now. So what you saying is true, but it's not illegal. Not anymore. It was illegal last year. It's not illegal this year. So this where we at. So yeah, the rest of you gonna get hemmed up and locked up and whatnot. But for this other stuff, right? The folks still in billions. Oh no, we doing that. Once again, y'all, the next time some Megan Ku Klux Kelly tries to tell you about crime, or some Charlie KKK Kirk tries to tell you about crime, by the way, I'll tell you that game. I'll run that one to you right here. Yeah, it's a crime if you and me try it. Now, if we try it, we going straight to prison. Omi and a Hellcat, we going straight to prison. The white dudes do it, billions gone, wiped out folks' whole lives. Meh. I mean, it's not even illegal anymore, people. They're not prosecuting them folk for it. They're not prosecuting them or nothing. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, and Trump even gave one of the guys, what's his name, this Asian dude, CZ, run Binance, who was hemmed up by the feds for laundering. Then Trump's like, no, you're good. And now I think they even got some stake in Binance. like you said, man, ain't a crime no more. As a matter of fact, it's an empire that's expanding during this administration. So yeah, man, it's a takeover, and we see the double standards. So salute to you for pointing that out, B1.
Thank you for checking in with us tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me see if we can get Kirk up here on Zoom right quick. Yeah, y'all, it's not even illegal anymore. I mean, there's money crimes and all that stuff. No, it's not even illegal. All right, we got Kirk up here on Zoom. Kirk, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Great broadcast as always. A few years ago, you had a great broadcast called the 40 Million Sports Tycoons. You said a lot of FBA tend to be sports sambos. I'm as B1 as they come, but I tend to tap dance when it comes to football. I have to say, I love the NFL. I've watched a lot of NBA in my life, watched even more football. You cannot tell me that the NFL isn't rigged, right? It's 1,000% rigged at times. I don't care what anybody says, but I do think it tends to be more the refs than the players beyond influencing parlays. I just wanted to say that. And also, I don't know.
I think the big misconception would be to say that it's refs and more than players. I think it goes hand in hand. I think that's the big thing about it is folk that I think that's how people get confused. You're looking to see if it's the players, you're looking to see if it's the referees. It's both. And I will go beyond that. It's more than just the players and the referees. You can't have something running this long that goes on like this and folk above the player and referee level ain't in on it or don't know. There's no way you can do that.
There's one thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you mentioned this already. I missed the first 10 minutes of the broadcast, but the technical sophistication by the mob having special contact lenses, I mean, that stinks of a state actor right behind them. Right?
I mean, the tools that are available, I mean, they're available everywhere, man. Technology is technology across the board. The tools that governments have, the private sector can get their hands on them.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I just always keep it in the back of my mind. The former head of the DEA said the CIA is dealing drugs. I don't think it's beyond our government to be involved in illegal gambling just to skim some cash for the black ops and the illegal activity. I see Trump bombing drug boats and now this. I don't know what's going on, but I agree with the general sentiment that something else is probably going on behind the scenes. And I'll land my plane there, B1.
Thank you very much for checking in, brother. We appreciate that. Yeah, man. I mean, they just arrested an NBA coach. So, no, it's a red herring to look at that binary choice between players and referees and who's doing it more. Man, that's the whole point is everybody's in on it. You can't have something running this big, this widespread, this quiet. You see a bunch of crazy, hinky stuff happening. Folks were talking about Rozier a couple of years ago. You can look it up on YouTube. Folk were talking about them a couple of years ago. And that's not the only ones. And then they try to make you feel crazy when you witness it. You witness it. You see those things happen. You're like, man, come on now. How the hell did that occur? And then they try to make you feel crazy because you saw it and you witnessed it like, hey, I saw that. They tell you you're a conspiracy theorist and you're just paranoid. You can't just take a L. The problem isn't the game being rigged. The problem is you just can't take a L. Your team just lost, and that's all there is to it. I'm just telling y'all tonight here, man, is everything just fake? Your movies are fake, your TV shows are fake, your reality TV shows are fake, your so-called competitive sports are fake, the Olympics is fake. What? Damn! Just if you are looking at the television, it's just all a performance. We're starting to get to a point. Was that, remember, the Tour de France? Damn! Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to remind you all about the Tour de France? Remember, Lance Armstrong didn't get caught. Let me remind you all one more time. Lance Armstrong didn't get caught. He was at a hotel with a bunch of other cyclists, and they were all getting blood transfusions so that they could pass the drug tests. They were all getting blood transfusions. He wasn't the only one. It was a whole gang of them. There were more of them using than weren't. And it was a bunch of them. Go look it up for yourselves. It was a bunch of them who were in that hotel. I mean, they had doctors who showed up with all the right equipment, all the necessary equipment to perform a blood transfusion. You out here with folk begging for blood when there's a natural disaster. Lance Armstrong ain't got no problem getting it, but then again, you can make your own blood for a transfusion. But in any case, okay, and remember, it was one of the other cyclists. He was salty and angry because even though he was doping, he wasn't winning. He was using and cheating just like the rest of them, but he wasn't winning. So he's the one who snitched. He's the one who snitched. Not because he wasn't using, but because he was, and he wasn't winning. So the whole damn thing was fake to begin with. So it's like, so cyclists, next up NASCAR. That one's easier than you think. Check out the engines, but man, look here. Just turn off the TV, y'all. It's all fake. It's all a performance. Either that or just treat it like a scripted television show. You're just betting on, is Cersei Lannister going to be alive at the end of Game of Thrones? But just turn off the TV, man. It's all rigged. It's all rigged, man. I'm starting to look that way. I'll just go ahead and get back over here on Zoom right quick. My man Tyler's over here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Tyler?
Oh, Jason, I love the topic tonight. Let me go ahead. I got like a couple points, but you just let me know. First, it's all about protecting the narrative. Sports is a huge threat to white supremacy because it's truth in 3 dimensions, and it's really undeniable. So you know that they couldn't just let it run free. They were going to do something. So I'm going to go over to football because I don't really know too much. I don't watch too much basketball. The pass interference penalty is the main way they protected Tom Brady and other, they call them immobile quarterbacks. Now, if you're a football team and you got a field full of athletes, why in the world would you want somebody who is unathletic at the most important position? They were putting there have been black quarterbacks galore for years that were sick with it, Jason, that have been switched over to wide receiver. They've even tried to do it to Lamar. They switch them over to running back or some type of specialty position to get them up out the paint. Sometimes they even toss them a little bit of money because it's worth it. But it's all about protecting the narrative that white people can legitimately compete with black people. Because when we watch sports, we see the performance and we see the prestige and we say, okay, that's us. We see ourselves in the top performing athletes. If you're a white person watching sports, the Olympics, football, basketball, all you get to get excited about is the kicker, the quarterback, and the coach or the ref. Nobody else on that field, very few people look like you, right? It starts earlier though, Jason. In high school, the GPA requirements have been running so many top athletes out of the paint before they can even get to the college level. Because if you don't make it to a D1 right out of high school, you have to take the community college route, right? And that before all this NIL and the transfer rules and the transfer portal, that was pretty much just you were a dead duck. So they were ruining the careers of hundreds of thousands of incredibly talented black athletes by saying, hey, your GPA isn't what it needs to be. Even though when you get to college, they have some smart person, usually non-black, some smart some girl that will come and do your homework and some other stuff. And you never even, most of the athletes are getting called out of class by their coach. I remember being in class and the starters over here, they just leave in the middle of the class. I'm like, y'all didn't get the homework? They're like, no, they just kind of smiled and looked at me. I had a teacher, Jason, one time, I'm not going to say no names. He straight up asked me what grade I want. I was like, and Jason, I was not a starter. He asked me, what grade do you want? I'm just like, what are the starters getting? What are these 5-star? What is Reggie Bush getting, right? Not done yet, Jason, but jump in when you're ready. Targeting is this new penalty they came up with like about 4 or 5 years ago. I may be off with that. It mostly affects defensive players. And if you look at the numbers, most defensive players are black athletes. So that's another level where they're trying to get at the black athlete. Pass interference, BS calls, GPA requirements in high school that have nothing to do with the performance of the athlete because you don't give him back any of the money that he generated when his GPA falls below 2.0. All right. Also, when you look at Bill Belichick, right? Dion pissed off so many people, which is why I love him. If you're a football player, you know that the center position on the offensive line is usually reserved for white boys, right? And most of the positions on the O-line are reserved for the white boys, especially the tight end. Dion's got a black center. He's got black trainers. He's got black assistant trainers. All those little bitty side gigs that are supposed to be, kind of pushed this way. He said, I'm making it black as I can with some black uniforms, and I'm drinking my coffee black, no sugar, right? So then they go and bring Bill Belichick through to try to say, well, Deion's not the only one that can do it. Have you heard about North Carolina, Jason? Have you seen North Carolina? Trash. The team is trash. And I think the team's got some good athletes, but Bill Belichick is not prime, and they are furious. They're trying to bury it. They brought him in. Oh, he had Brady. He won all these Super Bowls. Yeah. But the man can't win a game almost at the simplest
his
level.
girlfriend is running the team. She's running the team and damn near running the school right now, but that's Bill Belichick. So kiss $20 million goodbye.
And that's nothing to white supremacy, Jason. You know that. They're willing to do it. And if it's not Bill Belichick, it'll be somebody else. I want to make one more quick comment, Jason. The white running back is something that, man, there are white people who talk about Christian McCaffrey not winning the Heisman like it was OJ, all right? Like OJ did something wrong. They are still mad about Christian McCaffrey not winning the Heisman because they think he is this, that, and the other. Christian McCaffrey is coming after decades and decades of GPA requirements, knocking black athletes at low-performing schools, holding them accountable for underfunded schools that the states are not giving money to. And now they finally get a Christian McCaffrey. They finally get a Lad McConkey. They're finally getting, Jackson Dart. Do you know how many Jackson Darts are in Inglewood, in Compton, in Hawthorne, in Gardena, in Lawndale right now? I mean, just sick-witted quarterbacks that by the time they get to high school, if they want to go to some top school like Mater Dei, they're being switched over to wide receiver. A lot of these black wide receivers, if you listen, even in the NFL level, they were former quarterbacks. A bunch of these wide receivers are former quarterbacks. And it's like, why are they former quarterbacks? And you saw how they did Lamar. The last thing, Jason, is I'm going to switch over just to private schools in the academic space, right? I've worked at a few private schools in my teaching career, Jason. And one thing that they're doing now is when the white kids can't hang, they just come together and start their own private school, pay whatever money they need to get WASC accredited, and then they just start handing out them grades. I'm not the most proudest to say this, Jason. I'm not so proud to say this. Yes, I have been a part of that system. I have been a part of the system that helps to move these white students through, even though they can't read or write a word, Jason, but they're paying what they need to pay, and I'm getting my bills paid. Not too proud of it, just trying to eat, Jason. All right, I got a kid. But they've been doing this for decades now. So meanwhile, when you got a black kid out of high school, he doesn't do well, send his ass to continuation, right? Send his ass to the back. But if you got white kids that come from some money, right, from an expensive private school, they just get together, say, let's rent this building out, pay whatever to get this WASC accreditation, pay for these, these low budget teachers, and then we'll just start giving the grade. We'll just start selling the grades. There are grade mills all over this country, Jason, where, and it's corporations starting franchises now because they recognize that there's a lot of money in it. And these kids
every school does that. Mm-hmm. Every school does that. That's not rare or whatever. I want to jump on this one thing here about Bill Belichick, though. Bill Belichick, I mean, we talk about rigged games. I mean, what about in the NFL? Come on now. Cheatingest coach ever? Come on. It wasn't just peeking at other folks' plays or whatnot. Remember about the ball situation.
Deflategate, yep.
Remember about that. So Tom Brady's the greatest ever? Well, he certainly was a good quarterback, but by the way, if we can take a look at y'all's plays and if we can help these balls over here just a little bit, we can be the greatest of all time. So that's the kind of thing I'm taking a look at. And was Bill Belichick ever that great of a coach? Well, I'm just like, look at his last couple of years in the NBA and the NFL when he couldn't cheat anymore. And when he goes to North Carolina, I submit to you that is the Bill Belichick you saw. That's the same one you saw. It's not that the NFL strategy doesn't work in college football. It's that, the Bill Belichick don't work. And they sit up here and make you think these guys are fantastic and great, and that's part of the show. So, will the Patriots win? And will they be the new dynasty? And so on and so forth. Take a look at his damn age. He's 70-something years old? Brother, come on now. 70-something years old? You should be indicted for bringing him there. You compare him to Deion Sanders, that's basically why they brought him there. Okay,
Yep.
if Dion could bring shine to college, then certainly it'll work with Bill Belichick. And I'm just saying right now, Bill Belichick is not the same man he was a decade ago. I mean, he's much slower. I mean, he's obviously older. And that chick he got with him, I don't even know what the hell's going on. It's not even Cyrano de Bergerac. I don't know. It's like he's got some young, keeper or some nursemaid or something. But what I am saying is that nobody thinks they're getting who in the hell thinks they're getting a 5-star coach at 72, 74, however old he is, in his mid-70s? Who the hell thinks that's the case? That's what you're getting in his 70s? Really? So he's not ready to wrap it up. He's going on, heading towards 80 years old. How much productivity is North Carolina expecting? How many years are you expecting him to be there when he's showing up in his mid-70s? How many years are you expecting to get out of that? And you mean to tell me this is because he's so great? Who in the hell makes that kind of decision? So you all think he's going to be winning championships at 79?
Nigga, what?
Is that what they think? So I would just submit to you all that no, Bill Belichick wasn't the worst ever, but he damn sure wasn't the greatest unless you count cheating in the game. So if we're going to talk about rigged games, by the way, nobody came for his head in the NFL, even after you knew that. So it's no, you're not going to convince me that he was some fantastic coach. What's his name? Who's the owner of the Patriots? Is it Kraft or whoever it is who owns the Patriots?
I think so. I think it's Bob Kraft.
Okay, well, folks, if you think he made the wrong decision, take a look at what's happening in North Carolina. If you think that Kraft made the wrong decision and that he let him go too soon, okay, ask North Carolina if he got let go too soon. And you think it's going to get better after this? All right. No, them games, wasn't nothing funny about them games, bro. Them games wasn't nothing funny about that. Looking at a few people's plays and stuff like that and spying on a few folks' playbooks, but don't worry about that.
Man, last thing, Jason, I was watching UCLA versus Indiana today, and the NCAA don't care that they just got caught, that all the professional sports just got caught, right, with the hand in the cookie jar. UCLA versus Indiana, in the first quarter, there is a blatant pass interference call. And when it gets so bad that the white announcers who know usually got to keep your mouth shut because you know where the bread is buttered, even the white announcer is like, yo, if they're going to call it. Why would you call it and bring it back? What they do, Jason, is they do not want teams that can actually win and get their winning record that people don't want to watch. It goes back to a couple of years when TCU made it all the way to the championship, and then they got washed. I think it was by Alabama, I forget, or it might have been Georgia, I forget what team. So they really craft a narrative. So Indiana's number 2, and they're undefeated. If the undefeateds get messed with, meaning if they get a loss in their record, it does something to the rankings, and it causes a little bit of turmoil. They protected Indiana today in front of everybody this morning. And even the white announcers had to say, yo, I don't know what's going on with this pass interference call. It's the most subjective call we've got out there. Without the pass interference call, Jason, you do not have immobile quarterbacks who tend to be mostly white because they don't let black immobile quarterbacks in the league. If it's mostly protecting them, Tom Brady never would have got that championship with the Bucs if they did not have the pass interference. The refs control the game. I'll finish with this, Jason. When you watch a college football game, or if you go to a professional football game, some random ass dude walks on the field and tells the refs to stop play for a commercial. If there's somebody controlling the refs who control the game, the refs have never controlled the game. Be one, brother Jason. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, buddy. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things that we kind of dismissed before or minimized, but you know what? Yeah, I mean, everything from the Seahawks and Marshawn Lynch to Bill Belichick to Tom Brady. I mean, it's a bunch of things. Maybe we need to reconsider all of that. Maybe it's not just us being paranoid. Maybe there is something more to it. Just maybe. Let me go ahead and see if we can get 5 Arts up here. All right, 5 Arts, what's on your mind?
B1 Jason, it's Dan Mans. So, real quick, I'm gonna keep it under 60 seconds. About Tom Brady and the Patriots, have anybody ever looked at his family? Particularly his dad, Thomas Brady Sr., who is they paint his whole family as a successful, middle class family. And for the past like 10 years, not 10 years, well, yeah, 10 years, Super Bowl, 2006 Super Bowl, it's 51. During his run, we've noticed some things in that game. Now, I've really looked into it for the past years that his father was very, very kind of close with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. And if you dig deep into it, it's funny because I've talked to a guy who was an insider who was very tight with the New England Patriots for the past, 30 years. And he said that a lot of the people in Boston, in that area, because, Boston is we already know how Boston gets down with the bets and, the mafia ties, historically. But he said that his father was pretty clicked in with the higher ups, not just with the Patriots, but in the Senate or Congress. So there was and he said that he didn't say the representative was either Delaware or Connecticut, but he was very close with him and Robert Kraft. And I don't know if his Roger Goodell was a part of it too, but he did mention that Thomas Brady Sr., Tom Brady's dad, was a producer of NFL films for the past 30 years, since 1972. He showed me the screenshot. The screenshot is, I have the screenshot, but the crazy thing is it's scrubbed. A lot of his information is scrubbed. Thomas Brady Sr. So it's so crazy how these past, years, it's getting harder and harder to find what his dad is really about. He just says that he's a insurance agent, started with State Farm, insurance agent, and he built his whole company now since the early 90s, and now it's become successful. But the crazy thing is that he's a billionaire. His net worth is racked up to about $3 billion. And nobody talks about that, but they talked about how he grew up, Tom Brady, how he grew up in San Francisco as a middle class athlete, with Michigan. Him and his family were just middle class living, So I found that very strange. But we already know how white supremacy gets down. So I wanted to touch on that tidbit right there because I have the information, but it's just amazing how it's hard to find these days. So
things are only hard to find when they want them to be hard to find.
Correct.
So if they want something on you, it'll be plastered on billboards and running 24/7. But for other stuff, all of a sudden you can't find out information if you're depending on other folks to find it for you. So other than that, if you don't just bump into the right person who knows, these outlets and stuff, man, it's a business. ESPN is a business. Mm-hmm. Promoting sports, they don't just promote sports, they maintain it. They don't just promote sports, they maintain it. So they maintain everything from, not just the gameplay, but what you know about, who you know about. Hell, at this point right now, they already decide which players are going to be allowed to go in the broadcast booth before they even retire. That's not a decision that gets made later. That's a decision that gets made while they're still playing. So, no. What you're saying is nothing's coincidental, and you're right. I'm very, very inclined for that. No, and they don't want you to know too much about folks. So don't worry, he worked his way up here. You sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You sure about that? Are you certain? Look, folk, I'm just gonna say it like this: I'm not putting nothing past these people. That's how I'm going to say it to you. I'm not putting anything past these people. That's just it. I'm not putting nothing past them. How you do it, that's you. You do it how you do it. But at this point, and I've never been a team sports person. I'm not one of those people, but I'm not putting nothing past them. I'm just not. I have a very easy time believing anything. And there's just so much money going on and stuff right now. And they're looking to get even more, man. They're looking to get even more. And whoever pays calls the tune. That's the way that is. Whoever pays, that's who calls the tune. Now, if somebody is giving your league a couple of $1 billion, okay. Take a look at how they changed the game because of these television contracts. I mean, they basically run them like TV shows now. I mean, they make it stop for commercial breaks. So it's, man, okay. Well, don't worry. It's illegal and there's Congress and there's the laws. And all right. I'm just letting you all know because some of you will have children. Maybe you'll have grandchildren who get in the game and they need to know everything that's going on. Name, image, likeness. Yes, that is a big thing. That was a big win for us. It really, really was. But, man, there's other stuff going on. And quiet is kept. People ain't really talking about. And I'm just telling you, you watching an NBA coach getting arrested now, you think he's the only one? Let me explain something to y'all. We all know how it goes. The black folk don't do it until they've been watching the white folk do it for 20, 30 years. What? The black folk don't try this. In politics, the black politicians don't try to steal nothing until they watch the white ones do it for 20, 30 years. They watch the white ones do it and they're like, well, damn, I'm the mayor. I should be able to grab something too. Black folk don't invent it. When they see the white folk doing it, then they be like, I can get that. And see, it doesn't help you to squeal. It's not going to help Chauncey to squeal. It ain't going to help him. He can point the finger. If he points the finger at the white coaches, they ain't going to listen to that. No investigation, no nothing. They're just going to act like he didn't say nothing. If he points the finger, they're just going to be like, man, nigga, shut up. We ain't trying to hear all that. So just recognize how it's really going to go. But if the black folk are doing it, that's because they've been seeing the white folk doing it. Like, well, damn, if they can do it, hell, let me get a piece of that action. So believe me, that's the kind of thing I'm taking a look at. That's the kind of thing I'm taking a look at. It's a brand new day, y'all. It's a brave new world. So who's watching the game tomorrow? May your team, quote, win. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Nancy King. Thank you very much for your support tonight, sister. We appreciate that. Sir Shah, Mogul Mays, thank you all very much for your support here as well. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.